श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुरेव जगत्सर्वं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषविपुरोगिणां विधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं गबुद्धजं बहुबलसारभक्षितं उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। अगजाननपद्मार्कमजानमहर्षिमुनेकदन्तं भक्तानां एकदन्तम् उपास्महे। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेद्विघ्नोपशान्तये सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमामस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। व्यासमष्टनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मन् मुन्दे जगदातं भुवनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणदेवासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. So we were looking at Kuru's attack on Matsya kingdom and all the Kuru warriors, Duryodhana, Dushasana, with his brothers, other brothers, and Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, Ashwattama, Karna, all of them came together and took 60,000 cows from Virata, and then they were driving away while Virata was battling with Trigartas. So Arjuna, in the form of dressed as Brahmana, comes to aid Uttara, and Uttara was fleeing from that battlefield, and Arjuna stops him and then introduces himself as Arjuna. And after that, he goes to that battlefield facing Kurus. And recognizing him, Drona says that this must be Arjuna. Look at him, and he describes Arjuna's bravery and strength and courage and all the things, all the great things about Arjuna. And he says that today our defeat is guaranteed. Arjuna is coming after spending this much time in forest and in unrecognized state for this 1 year. After spending this 13 years, he's coming with anger. He is definitely going to defeat us. And listening to this, Karna becomes very angry. He says that Drona always favors Arjuna, and that's why he keeps highly of him, and that's why he accuses Drona of backstabbing Kurus in the battlefield. So with this, Kripacharya becomes very angry. He says that whatever Drona said is right, and Karna should think before he speaks, and he finally says that the the task at hand is very grave and very difficult to achieve. So everyone should unite it together, face Arjuna, and even single one of them as alone will not be able to do anything to Arjuna. And that's why they all should go united. And at this time, Ashwattama was listening to all this. He says that uh, the cows which they were driving towards Hastinapura have not yet been won. We have not yet won them, and they not even left their owner's border. So they have not yet left the Matsya kingdom yet, and they're not definitely not reached Hastinapura. So he tells Karna that why are you still boasting yourself as if you are going to defeat Arjuna and already won everything, and all the cows have been secured and all the wealth has been secured. You have not won anything. Even if one has won a lot of battles and acquired a lot of wealth and things like that, still those men who are brave will not speak of their strength. They do not boast themselves. They do not talk about themselves very proudly like that. Fire always burns quietly. Similarly, sun shines very quietly. It doesn't say that I'm shining, I'm giving light to the entire world. Similarly, earth bears all the creatures, both movable and unmovable things. Everything earth holds all these things. Prithvi holds all these things quietly. Prithvi doesn't say that I'm holding all these great mountains and rivers and humans and all the animals and plants and everything. It doesn't boast itself. So what Ashwattama is saying here is if you are doing great things, normally those great people do it very quietly. They don't go and telling everybody that I am great. And Ashwattama narrates again, explains that the Brahma has told that the all the four varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they have been given a method, a way to acquire the wealth. And without that, if we don't one does not follow that, that is condemnable. So if one does not follow that route, that's condemnable. So he says that Brahmana, one should study the Vedas and should perform the sacrifices for himself, and he should officiate the sacrifices for others. So that's how he earns wealth rightfully. And Kshatriya, he depending on his strength and his bow, he earns wealth and he should perform the sacrifices for himself, but he cannot officiate the sacrifices. And Vaishya, he earns the wealth and he through that wealth he makes the sacrifices to be performed for himself. So that means he does not perform himself. So Kshatriya and Brahmanas can perform themselves. Vaishya through that wealth makes those sacrifices to be performed for himself. On the other hand, Shudra always serves these three orders, and that's how their duties and that's how their wealth should be accumulated. And he says that the people who follow the profession work of selling the flowers, selling the meat, these people, they do not have any such rules. They can accumulate the wealth through deceit and fraud and things like that. So that means those are the lowest and lowest of the people who do not follow the dharma and duties. And that's why flower sellers, vendors, those people who sell, for example, alcohol and things like that, they are regarded as lowest of the people. So they do not, they're they're not bound by any of these rules because their work itself is so low that there is no rules for that. And Ashwattama says that acting according to these scriptures, Pandavas won their kingdom. They created that Indraprastha rightfully, and they always respected their superiors. Even if the superiors were hostile to them, like for example Dhritarashtra, they still respected them. And so he says that which Kshatriya is there in the world who is by means of dice game and uh, like this Duryodhana, shameless Duryodhana, acquired the wealth. Is there any other Kshatriya who is like that, who is like a meat seller, acquires the wealth by fraud and deceit, and then posts himself that I acquired this much wealth? So Ashwattama here in front of everybody talks about Duryodhana equaling him, his conduct equal to a meat seller. So he says that his conduct is not worthy of a Kshatriya because he won that wealth through dice game and decide. Ashwattama again continues that challenges Karna, saying that in which battle did you defeat Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva? In which battle did you defeat Yudhishthira and Bhima, all those strong people? When did you defeat them? How did you acquire that wealth? In which battle did you win the Indraprastha kingdom? And how have you, and what have you done to drag Draupadi in her state when she was not supposed to come, and when she was wearing that single garment? How did you, in what right you had to drag her to that court in the dice game? And he also challenges, saying that you have tells Karna that you cut that huge tree of Pandavas, and those Pandavas you made them slaves. And at that time, Vidura said all the wise words at that time, and he said that the men uh, and all the other creatures, including insects and ants, everything that shows forgiveness according to their power. So there is a limit one where one forgives. So Ashwattama says that Pandavas probably will forgive everything, but they will not forgive the suffering of Draupadi that happened in that dice game, that assembly. So he says that Arjuna has definitely come here for the destruction of Dhritarashtra's sons, and he has come here. Uh, you nobody can face that Vibhatsu has come here, even if Devatas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Rakshasas, everybody unite together, still Arjuna will win and nobody can face him. He is going to pick everyone like Garuda catches the snakes. So he says that nobody equal to except Krishna and Indra nobody probably will be able to face Arjuna. So even them, Arjuna probably will face on his own. So there is no one equal to it. So he says that uh, anyone who knows the scriptures declares that a disciple, a student, is not inferior, is equal to a son. And that's why my father Drona recognizes Arjuna because he is equal to his son. So he is equal to me and he is favorite son. So Arjuna is Drona's favorite son, even though he's not biological son. Ashwattama says that because he is his student, Drona's student, he recognizes him as a son, and that's why Drona considers him to be his favorite. Ashwattama saying this, being Drona's son, shows even though should be jealous, he is very proud of his father that he considers Arjuna as the Drona's son himself, right? So Ashwattama then says that you employed deceit, fraud in that dice game through this Shakuni, who was this gambler Shakuni helped him win that. Now ask Shakuni to go and fight Arjuna. And he says that whatever, uh, even if Yama, Vayu, Agni, they all come. A huge, strong wind comes, fire burns, everything. But those things might leave something left behind, something unburnt or something unrooted or things like that. Vayu might blow away everything, but still might leave some traces. Agni might burn everything, but still might leave some traces. But when Arjuna comes, when he comes in anger, he leaves nothing unturned, nothing touched. So there is nothing going to be left. So this Kuru's army is going to be completely destroyed today. And he says that I don't know what my father is going to do, whether he's going to fight Arjuna or not, but I will not fight Arjuna because I came here to fight the Matsyas. If Matsyas Virata comes here, then I will fight. So he says that then Arjuna, the Ashwattama says that I will not fight. So hearing this, Bhishma says that Ashwattama as well as Krupa, they said it correctly. Their words are whatever they said is right. I agree with them. But this Karna, whatever he said on back of what Drona's words, praising Arjuna, he said just to observe his Kshatriya duties. As a Kshatriya, thinking he's a Kshatriya, he said not to lower the morale of our army. He probably said those things. So he's actually increased the courage of our army. That's why he probably said it. So sometimes even those who are very much conversant with the morality, they probably confused with all the things and they probably will think about their own interest. And that's what Karna probably has done it. Not to disrespect Drona, he probably said it. He probably said it to increase the courage of our people who are already worried that it's Arjuna, knowing that it's Arjuna, they already worried, and that's why he probably said it. And he says that, just like Krupacharya, he says that whatever we have differences, the task in front of us is very difficult one, and we should all not come to quarrel at this time. And he had looking at Ashwattama, he says that just like beauty never leaves moon, Chandra, just like that, Vedas and Brahmanas, Vedas and Brahma weapon, the celestial weapons, both are with you together. So it's not always we see that. So Kshatriyas always have the weapons and Brahmanas have the Vedas, but we don't see that together. So we see that only in Dronacharya and yourself, we see that. And previously, we're looking at the Vedantas, Puranas, and all the histories and everything, apart from Parashurama and this Drona, there is nobody else who has this both Vedas, Brahmana Shakti, and weapons, celestial weapons, everything in one place. So that's why, please forgive Karna, whatever he said, forgive him for this. It is not time for disunion amongst ourselves. He says that among all the things that could happen to an army, the worst thing is the disunion among its leaders. So if there is a disunion among the leaders, that's the worst thing that could happen to an army. So Bhishma again says this, and listening to this, Ashwattama says that I hear you, but it is my duty to tell what, even if it is the enemy, it is the duty of me to tell you all this, even if to tell me the good things about the enemy, even if he's an enemy coming to attack us, we should tell. And similarly, if one on our side is wrong, we should call that out. That's the duty. So Duryodhana, listening to all this conversation, he comes and says that he requests Drona and Ashwattama for forgiveness and Kripacharya for forgiveness. And he says that let peace be restored, let all be united together, we will fight uh, Arjuna. And Duryodhana, with this, he goes and seeks forgiveness with Karna. He goes and seeks forgiveness for Bhishma. Everybody goes and tries to pacify Dronacharya, and Drona says that whenever Bhishma said all these things, he asks for us to give this back, give this anger, and then fight united and ask for forgiveness. That time itself, I have lost, I have given up all the anger, whatever that I had towards Arjuna, towards Karna. So Arjuna, uh, but and also he says that it is very difficult for us to face Arjuna, so we have to unite together and fight. And he also says that Arjuna definitely would not have come here if he thinks that he has not completed his 13 years and at the 13th year of exile and 13th year of concealment. If he has not completed that, he would not have come. But I don't know, I can't think uh, now, so my mind is confused. So probably Bhishma knows this, and Bhishma can tell what is true. Okay, he can tell whether Pandavas have completed 12 years plus 1 year of concealment. And at that time, Bhishma speaks. He says that the time we divide into multiple parts, like today's world, we see seconds, milliseconds, or seconds, minutes, hours, and things like that, days and things. We divide the time into multiple divisions called kalas, kasta, muhurta, and then days, fortnights with pakshas, months, masas, and then there is a division of nakshatras, grahas, ritus, and then years and things like that. So time is divided like that. Sometimes what happens is with these divisions, there is a fraction of time that gets deviated from one to another. And this adds up as a 2 months every 5 years. So you probably hear that there is a Adhika Masa added in the calendar, in the Panchanga. When we look at our Panchanga, there is a Adhika Masa added. That Adhika Masa is added to align these deviations. So say, for example, in a calendar Panchanga following moon cycle, you probably will have, I think you will have 1 day and just over a day short of a complete 30-day cycle. So your month annual year comes around 320 or 330, something like that. So it is not 365 days. So that leftover is added as a new month every third year. So he says, Bhishma here says that 5 months, excess of 5 months is added. So, sorry, 2 months is added every 5 years. So, according to my calculations, Pandavas were supposed to be away for 13 years. So, they should have spent 5 months, 12 nights in that 13 years as an extra in addition to the actual 12 years. And looking at all that, Pandavas have completed their time. By the time Arjuna came in front of us, they definitely have completed these things. And he says that Pandavas know Shastras, scriptures, everything, and they are guided by Yudhishthira. So he will not yield to temptations, even if it is Kauravas coming in front of him, and there is an opportunity to battle with them and fight them, defeat them. He will not come to those temptations. So they have achieved a very difficult feat of completing this 12 years exile and 13th year in concealment. They have completed, and they have completed that in fair means they did not go any unfair things and did not do anything like that. If they wanted the wealth and things like that, they would not have waited for 12 years and or this 13th year to complete. They would have attacked you at the time of the dice game itself. They would have done it. But because they are bound by the virtues, they will do not deviate from their duties. That's why they completed what they words they gave up. So he says that uh, Pandavas always prefer death to falsehood, and they will not follow anything. They will not do anything that falsely or deceit or fraud or anything like that. They will not do it. So that's why this Arjuna has come after completing his 13th year, and he says that I never seen anyone. Or this battle we have is very difficult one, and he is possessed of all the celestial weapons and things like that. It is very difficult for us, and I have never seen anyone going to a battle and saying that we are sure to win. Even when a battle occurs, either you win or a defeat, or either you become have prosperity or you will have adversity, and it must be one will get one of these things, and it's not nothing known that we will win or we don't. We will definitely get defeated, but we must fight united together. So listening to this, Duryodhana says that Duryodhana becomes very upset that Bhishma is saying that Pandavas completed their 13th year. So he says that even if Pandavas has completed, I will not give them the kingdom back. So let's prepare for the battle without delay. Let's fight it. And Bhishma says that listen to what I'm going to say, even though you may not listen. Bhishma says that even though you may not listen to me, I will tell you what is good for you. So I will tell you that you go back to Hastinapura, taking quarter of the army we have. He says that protecting you is important, so you go back. And the other quarter of the army, let them drive the cows towards Hastinapura. Let them take the cows. And the remaining half the army, with myself, Drona, Karna, Ashwattama, Kripa, and all your brothers, we will try to withstand Arjuna or Virata or whoever comes. We will try to stop them. So you go back. Protecting you is important. Protecting the wealth, that is those cows, is important. So you let the half the army go that way, and then we will do the rest. And is everyone agreed to that? And so they start. Duryodhana takes quarter of the army and he heads towards Hastinapura. Similarly, another quarter of the army drive the cattle towards Hastinapura, and then Bhishma then prepares the rest of the army and the warriors on their side to face Arjuna. He tells Ashwattama to stand on the left, Kripacharya on the sorry, he tells Ashwattama on the center and Kripacharya on the left, and then he tells Karna on the right wing, and then uh, he tells Dronacharya also to stand on the one side, and then he says he will he will protect from the back of the RB group. So sorry, here he's saying uh, he tells everybody to stand like that. Then Kauravas take their positions. Arjuna advances towards them, and hearing that, he makes the Gandiva, stretches the Gandiva bow, and then makes a huge noise from that. So, hearing that Gandiva sound come, Dronacharya again says that banner of Partha shines from a distance, and the noise of this chariot and the ape on his banner roaring frightfully, very scarily. Uh, that's terror, giving terror in among our troops and everybody. That car Arjuna is driving, that Gandiva bow, that loud of that Gandiva bow, we can all hear. And Arjuna just sent two arrows towards me, one near barely touching towards my feet, another one barely passing my ears. He says that after completing his exile, Arjuna comes here and first he salutes me by sending an arrow towards my feet. He salutes me, and then second one, he whispers me in my ear saying that I am here. Okay, so that Arjuna is definitely here, and Drona again praises Arjuna. So while they were speaking like that, Arjuna says that Arjuna looks at all those warriors assembled there and the army assembled, Kuru's army assembled there, and he tells Uttara that control these horses and take them to a place where I can reach my enemy. And let me see who is there and where they are. And I will fight one by one. Each one of them I will fight. And he looks at that Kuru army and he says that I see Drona there with his son, and I see Bhishma, Kripacharya, Karna. I see all of them, but I don't see Duryodhana anywhere. And probably, I suspect that to save his life, he probably going on the southern road. He probably going towards Hastinapura, taking all the cows. So leave all these warriors here. Bhishma, Kripacharya, Drona, everybody leave them here. Let's go in the southern direction and chase Duryodhana and the cows. So Duryodhana, Arjuna instructs Uttara to leave all of them in that battlefield and chase Duryodhana. So Virata's son immediately, Uttara immediately turns his chariot and races towards Duryodhana. Arjuna immediately goes in that direction. Seeing him, Kripacharya says, everybody, that Arjuna do not want to fight us. So he is going towards Duryodhana. If Duryodhana is captured, then what is the use of all this wealth and everything, just like a boat with a hole in it? Okay, so there is no point in doing any of this battle if Duryodhana is captured by him, and there is nobody who can defeat Arjuna except Krishna and probably Indra himself. So the Kripacharya says that we also have to follow Arjuna now and stop him from reaching reaching Duryodhana. So, but Arjuna immediately, with Uttara driving that chariot, they quickly go and reach that army Duryodhana was going along with the cows they are taking, and he fights all that warriors that were protecting army men who were protecting there. He releases thousands of arrows on that field, and the army which was protecting the cows completely dismantled by Arjuna. And with that, the cows they were driving towards Hastinapura, they start running back towards Matsya because they start running back towards their home. The cows, they start immediately running back. So the cows that's how were rescued now. So Arjuna, after rescuing those cows, he tells Uttara that now let's fight, because the first objective of Arjuna's objective was to rescue the cows. So that's been done, and now he says that he want to fight Duryodhana, but he tells Uttara that let's go and face these warriors. There is Karna, who is always wants to fight me. Let's go and fight with him, and then we'll fight everybody else. So with that, Uttara takes those chariots and starts facing these Kuru warriors who are fighting, coming towards Arjuna, and seeing him, Chitrasena, Sangramajit, Shatrusaha, Jaya, and all of them come towards Karna to help Karna, because Karna alone they needed help, and they come towards Arjuna. So Arjuna immediately starts releasing arrows towards those warriors who come from Kurusena, Chitrasena, and others. So Vikarna comes there, Duryodhana's brother, he comes there with, and Arjuna, he releases a thick shower of arrows towards Arjuna, but Arjuna then cuts Vikarna's bow, and he cuts his flagstaff. So when the battle starts here, what you will see is there are different parts of the chariot. Okay, so you will have a flagstaff there, protection that comes with the roof of the chariot and things like that. Flagstaff, flag hosted, and things like that. That's one part. They have the pole in the chariot, the strong pole. They have the horses that's driving the charioteer. Then they have they shoot at the wheels. They cut the bowstring, things like that. So these are the sequence of things that happen in a battle. So you will see that happening repeatedly. Okay, so removing the flagstaff is kind of a insulting. Okay, and killing the horses, what it does is it makes, or killing the horses or injuring the charioteer and things like that, it makes that their chariot cannot move. If you are not mobile, you cannot protect yourself. So normally what happens is if one is releasing the arrows, you keep moving the chariot, then you will not be hit by the arrows that's coming through. So that's how they keep moving. But if you kill the horses, then you can't move, you are stuck there. And cutting the bowstring. Okay, so that means they can't release the arrows. So you again, by the time they string another bow and things like that, you attack them bodily, so on their body. So like that they happen. So here Vikarna got injured by Arjuna, and he immediately runs away from that battlefield. Then Shatruntapa comes. So he comes, and the king Shatruntapa, he comes and he fights Arjuna, and Arjuna again first kills his charioteer, and then he kills his horses, and then pierces Shatruntapa and kills Shatruntapa himself. So once Shatruntapa is killed, then the lot of other warriors on Kaurava side, the soldiers, they come and they fight Arjuna. They release hundreds of arrows, but Arjuna continuously releases arrows one after another, and then he faces up Sangramajit, who is the brother of Karna. So he comes there and he faces up to Arjuna, but Arjuna with a sharp arrow releases and cuts Sangramajit's head and kills him with a crescent-shaped arrow, going and killing Sangramajit. Looking at his brother killed, Karna becomes very angry. He rushes toward Arjuna, and both Arjuna and Karna, they start facing each other, and they fight each other one another, and they made uh, thousands of arrows at each other, both cutting off each other's arrows and things like that. They fight for a long time, and uh, Arjuna covers Karna's horses, chariot, car driver, charioteer, everything with full of arrows. So covering like that, he also faces up to all the other warriors headed by Bhishma coming towards him and faces them. Karna becomes very angry, and he again uh, releases more and more arrows. He releases the arrows towards this the ape on the banner. He releases towards Arjuna, uh, but Arjuna again pours a shower of arrows towards Karna. So like this, both of them keep fighting each other, and then what Arjuna does is Arjuna taking some keen, very sharp crescent-shaped arrows. He draws that to his ears and releases that towards Karna, and he injures Karna and pierces those arrows with those arrows every part of Karna's body, like that, the arms, thighs, head, forehead, everywhere injured. That Karna could not stand anymore, his body with those injuries. So he immediately quit that battlefield and he runs away from that battlefield, leaving Arjuna there. Looking at Karna leaving, Duryodhana comes in front of him, and again, Duryodhana uh, faces up to Arjuna, and Arjuna again with a lot of celestial weapons and things like that. He covers Duryodhana and all the soldiers that come with him. Uh, he kills all of them and he injures Duryodhana. So like this, he applies celestial weapons, and he those with Uttara driving those chariot skillfully and using his all his weapons and prowess and light-handedness. That means quickly releasing those arrows one after another. Arjuna looked like a Yama at the end of the Yuga. So like he's going to, at the time of dissolution, the everything is killed and everything burnt. Like that, Arjuna was going after one after another, and he faces all the Kuru warriors one after another, and soldiers killing one after all those. He faces Duryodhana again, and he again, when the soldiers are running away or when they do not have any defense with them and things like that, he did not kill them. Again, following all the morality of the battlefield, Arjuna attacks only those warriors and soldiers who were facing up to him and ready to fight. So like this, Arjuna continues to fight, and they were all those people or Kuru Sahib warriors, they were not able to see which hand Arjuna was releasing the arrows. One time he was releasing from his left hand, another one from his right hand. Sometimes they see that Arjuna is coming from a distance. Immediately, they by the time they realize that Arjuna is coming towards us, the arrows already comes and hits them, piercing through their protection, whatever they were having, and killing them like that. So they all the elephants, horses, everything was cut in their heads, arms, and legs. Humans were cut with all the earrings and heads all everywhere in the battlefield. Like that, Arjuna fights one after another, and he comes across Dronacharya. He releases 73 arrows towards Drona, 10 towards Dusya, and then 8 towards Ashwattama, 12 towards Dushasana, and 3 at Kripacharya. And then he releases arrows towards Bhishma, and then Duryodhana with 100 arrows. So then he issues very sharp arrows towards Karna and injures his ears, injures Karna's ears with those arrows. So, like this, he fights every one of them, and then Uttara asks him, "Where should I go next? Where should I take you next? Tell me, because you're fighting everybody. Where should I go next?" And Arjuna says that look at all these warriors. The warrior with a coat of tiger skin, wearing the tiger skin and blue star flag and red horses is Kripacharya, and he introduces everybody. And he says that the one who is having the flag of bears and uh, water pot and worked in gold, that is Dronacharya. He is always respected by me, and you should go around him and do a namaskara to him, and then I will fight Drona only if he fights with me first. If he releases first, if he strikes me first, then only I will fight. Then you go, the person who is having a flag as a bow, that's Ashwattama. And he is also very much respected by me. And he's a knower of all the arm weapons. So you should be very careful with him when you go near him. And then he shows that the one who is having golden protection and he's having a third of the army around him and who has a flag of elephant, that's Duryodhana. Again, he's very strong and very difficult to be defeated. You should be very careful with him as well. Then he introduces Karna and says that he is a flag of very binding elephant, the cord of the elephant binding. So he has that, but you know already Karna because Karna is already once injured. And he says that the flag with a blue color flag wearing the device of the 5 stars at the center, that's Bhishma. And he is holding a huge bow and he's having a white pure umbrella over his head. And that's Bhishma. He's strikes terror in my hearts. So he's Arjuna says that I'm scared of Bhishma, and you approach him very last. After all these people, then only you approach him because I expect Bhishma to be very difficult to defeat. So and then, so having said this, he goes up towards Kripacharya and starts fighting Kripacharya. He tells him to go towards Kripacharya and they start fighting. So it is like at that time, Indra and all the other devatas, rishis, Gandharvas, everybody come in the sky to see Arjuna fighting Bhishma, Drona, Ashwattama, and all the others. They come there, all the Nagas, Pitrus, everybody came there. All the kings come there, Usmanas, Balaksha, Shibi, Yayati, Nahusha, Manu, Puru, Raghu, all these kings come there, all the Gandharvas come there, and all of them come, rishis, everybody come there and to see, watch that fight, Arjuna with all the Kuru warriors there. So we will stop there and we will continue the battle next time. Any questions?